Hello and welcome to Limitless Speaks. Limitless is a loving community of young adults who are passionate about being Christ representatives in their generation. Here at Limitless Speaks, these young men and women come together to discuss various topics that we as Christian young adults and young professionals face in our community today. Through these conversations, we aim to relay the mind of Christ and how the one truth of the gospel still stands today. We hope these episodes sprinkle a little laughter, encouragement, and wisdom to your day. Most importantly, we pray the Holy Spirit speaks to you through these conversations. Limitless Speaks, transforming minds one episode at a time.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode. My name is Precious, and with me I have
Florence.
Vivo.
Yeah, great. How are you guys doing?
Fine.
Yeah, we're doing good. Thank you. I'm doing well.
Anyways, today we'll be talking about whether silence is acceptance in the Christian community. And before we actually dive into that, I just have a few things that I just wanted to, start off with, because I think this whole thing of silence might have come from like a place of like misinterpretation. Firstly, Proverbs 17:28, it says, even a fool, if he keeps his mouth shut, is considered wise. And then, just to back that off, there was an interview with Mother Teresa, and in the speech, when she was asked, what do you consider the most important thing in the training of your sisters? She said, silence. Interior and exterior silence. Silence is essential in a religious house. The silence of humility, of charity, the silence of the eyes, ears, and tongue. So do you guys kind of like see a link of where this whole silence thing is leading towards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just waiting for you to direct where we want to go, because I do have some thoughts as well.
You do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can start with that. You can say, what's in your mind right now after?
I do understand how silence can be good. There was a saying that I heard a while where, God has given us 2 ears but only 1 mouth, and then also the Bible verse of like be slow to speak and quick to listen. I don't know if I'm paraphrasing, but I do understand how like silence can be good as well. Even the Bible verse you just read about how fools, fools are considered wise if they keep their mouth shut. So it's not everything that pops into your head that you say. But I feel like within the context of a church, which I feel like we're about to go into, it can be different. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think the impact of silence in a church is?
I think it doesn't keep like people accountable. So, like the way the Bible says, like summing yourselves one onto another. So we're supposed to keep ourselves accountable so that when you're silent, it gives room for people to not have accountability, so they're off and they do whatever they want. So
I think as well, also if your brother or sister in Christ is clearly doing wrong and you know that and you just keep quiet, I feel like that is a sin. I don't know if it says that in the Bible somewhere. It's off the top of my head, but I can't remember. But like to correct our brethren in love as well. So if there's something they're clearly doing wrong, first of all, pray for that grace and that utterance in order to approach it, because it's not everything you see that you should say, but definitely that correction within the house of God is needed, so that we can, because we're not perfect as well, and iron sharpens iron. If one is like falling off the way, it's up to us to like pull each other back. So.
Yeah. Just to bring it back to the actual like title, silence equating to acceptance of like behavior in the church. Do you think that's what it actually is? Like, the church have seen a behavior that is not consistent with the ways of the Bible, and they've kept quiet about it, although they might not be accepting it, but obviously the public would obviously see that as acceptance. Do you guys see where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Any thoughts, Faber?
I'm looking at it in the sense of like correction, because why do you correct and like why don't you correct someone? So a lot of times it comes from a place of like, because there's part in the Bible that says like judge not, or like ye be not judged, and talks about like if you have like something in your eye, like why will you go on to someone else and say they have this like in their eye as well? Like it's kind of a hypocrisy. And but the Bible also talks about like us like getting ourselves like perfect as well and submitting to ourselves. So I think it comes from the place of when people see as if you're correcting them, it's more of like you're kind of holier than holy in terms of so do you think you have no wrong in terms of like you probably have your faults, like no one is perfect as well. So I think it's just how you take correction in terms of being able to accept when people like, because I was reading something about how it's people that can be corrected. It's when they have like bad attitudes or like it's pride or you feel like, this person is like below me and I can't take correction from that person. And there's a part in the Bible, I think it's Hebrews as well, talking about when you're corrected, you should take it with a whole like heart, because you don't want people correcting you to be in the state of they should be happy, like there should be joy. I think it's even like it's Hebrew 13:17, so it says like when you're like under subjection, that as they give much account unto you, that they do it with joy and not with grief. So that when people correct you, they do it from a place of joy, and also like people correcting as well should do it like from a place of love. So it's because if you're correcting people that you love as well, it's less of a confrontation and more of like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of restoration.
Yeah, I get that. But I feel like from the person receiving it, it could still feel like a confrontation, even though that's not the intention. Yeah. But I get what you mean.
I feel like we're playing it a little bit safe here, so let me stir this up a little bit. Okay, what are some of the reasons you believe certain churches like conceal certain behaviors, events, characters?
I think a big one has to do with their reputation and what they think others will think of them as well. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts? Because
I think it's purely more like reputation. It has to do with reputation at the end of the day. I feel like it's that fear or like embarrassment that, when things have come out to the light, it's not like, oh, this is happening in your church and like, how could you not be aware of it? This is happening in your surrounding and you did not rebuke that.
Yeah.
Well, like, what are some of the effects? Or like, is there anything you want to mention before we go into the effects?
Yeah. But I feel like I just want to come from the point of like the people he has around him. It's like, how can you be in such a position and you have no one around you to tell you what you're doing is wrong? There's a problem there as well. Because it's not just about, okay, let me put on my suit and come to church on Sunday and do this. How are you living your life as well? What kind of people do you have around you? Are they correcting you in love, or are they just permitting it too? Because if they are as well, then it's like an enablement, because you'll expect it where you go, whether you're at home or you're at church. So it's that whole, if there's no one around to tell you actually what you're doing, fix up, in love as well, then really that's where it gets haywire.
But I also feel like some of these times it says a lot more about the people around them more than the person himself. Because if you're constantly accommodating, you're cleaning up the tracks of someone, you're hiding their actions, that says a lot about the type of community you are. Because I don't believe that any spiritually led community would do all the whole concealing. At the end of the day, we're not asking people to broadcast like what they've done.
Yeah.
But then, while I've just mentioned that we're not asking people to broadcast it, what ways do you think, do you think the church, just imagine an event happens and it has to do with one of the people in church. Do you think the congregation needs to know? Do you think they have their own an explanation or to be informed if this person has done this?
I do feel like there should be some decorum still in the place of God. It's not really up to everyone to know that particular person's business. But the necessary people, like the senior pastors, if they're in a department, maybe like the department head as well, maybe the people around them, I don't know what it could involve. But not everybody needs to know. So in a certain sense, it's not like you're covering it up, but for the sake of like not creating chaos and just, keeping that decorum within your place of worship, then I think it is necessary for you to just, not keep your mouth shut, but just not everyone needs to know.
But see, that's the problem.
Yeah, I think also like what Florence just said, like if you're correcting in love in terms of like keeping it like low key, it's when you want to correct someone, it's not you're not doing it to try to kind of shame the person or embarrass the person. It's if you're correcting in love, is more of like I think in the Bible talks about like the spirit of gentleness. So you're trying to, because obviously you still have to like put your feet down because some things have to be the way they are, but you don't do it in a way that kind of puts them out in the open. You still try to do it in love the best way you can.
Yeah,
so.
But I want to draw this, particular distinction that just came to
my mind. Or is there
mind.
Something that we are not saying that's on your mind that we should say?
No, I mean, there's nothing, like, whatever is in my mind is up to me to say it, But, but I think, the whole part of silence, okay, just imagine, like, in a church, for example, someone has done something, but let's just say whoever had to sort it out has sorted it out, let's say they've spoken to that person. Let's just imagine something like outrageous. They've spoken to that person, but now when, like they're not telling other people. So that silence, for example, I do something, you talk to me about it, but you don't inform the next person. And then they found out later when they're like, oh, why would you have kept that quiet?
Okay.
So I think there's like a very thin line between whose interpretation of silence. Because I feel like these things happen, but it's only the people that are saying, oh, they kept quiet on this, is the people that should not. But then
at the same time, I feel like it's not everyone's business to know. I feel like if it's gotten to a point where the information has now spread around and other people know, because we shouldn't also be like enforcers of gossip as well in the house of God. That's something we should because things can be very juicy and you just catch yourself talking about it, but you actually need to, it's really up to the individual as well. You need to catch yourself like, let's just pray that God is working it out with them, and all is well for them and the best and everything, as opposed to, adding more fuel to the fire and making it become worse and then spraying it to this person, adding like 10 more stories, and now it goes to this and this. It's not, I think it's...
I feel like silence sometimes is not even like the establishment is keeping it quiet. They just decided to deal with it a different way and people just wanted to know that this was what was going on. So like, if I was to go based on my argument and reach a conclusion, I'll basically say, okay, unless in the extreme cases, I'll basically say that there isn't any silence. The church has decided to deal with it in a way that they believe is right, but that's not what everyone else thinks. I don't know if you guys are catching my train of thought, because I'm trying to play, like, the other side of, like the churches, for example. Like, for example, we sorted this out this way. Let's just imagine it's like an outrageous case that just happened. Got sorted out. Well, not sorted out. They spoke to them, and that's it. They're still in the person who did that is still in the position that they're in.
Yeah.
But now...
I think maybe the issue is like the standards that the church keeps as well, because if you don't have any sort of strict standards or rules that you have set or boundaries, then anything can be let slide. Let slide, or if you over time have bent those standards or pushed the boundary, then obviously you're gonna allow more, and then this is where all these complications happen. So if you do have those strict standards set in place, like, okay, this has gone on, you might have to just dismount your place of ministry for now and just go and seek God, and we'll be praying along with you, that kind of thing. Then I don't know. I think it's about standards really, and the way you approach it, because we don't know what's really going on. We can only like comment on
what we know. That is true. Any other thoughts you've got, Favor?
Yeah. From that, I just have like suggestions for like in terms of like individuals themselves, because I don't really know the approach for like a community in terms of how to approach like an individual. But like for an individual, I think it's very important to like always have someone you're submitted to. So like you're accountable to, so that even if people can't, because a lot of times people can't get to people because it's confrontations are very uncomfortable, and so it's easier to actually kind of let the person just leave the person as they are. But if you have someone you're accountable to, they can always like reach out to that person, like if situations become like really bad. And also what she was saying in terms of like having standards, I think it's also about like hypocrisy as well in the church. Maybe there's certain things as well you've let slide already, so you also now don't have the confidence to approach this person in terms of having like a firm hand, because you've already let some little things like slide, and that kind of builds up, and before you know it kind of just erupts out of nowhere. So
Any other thought creeping
And
into
then now, like, putting those standards in place when everything's gone wrong.
exactly,
It's
too
a
late.
bit wrong.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
Yeah. To be fair, before I went into this podcast recording, I was ready to like, grill all like the establishment and be like, do you know what? Nothing is hidden under the sun. Why can't they just speak about? But sitting right here, I really thank God for like, His discernment and whatnot, because it just like popped in my mind. There's no silence about anything. They're choosing to deal with it in a way that and I'm only speaking for establishment, which have that good fortitude. They're choosing to deal with it in a way they believe that nobody needs to know, or like the congregation doesn't need to know, but it's always the congregation that feels, the entitlement to know what's going on in the place of service, which is fair enough, because you can't be worshiping a place and then it feels a bit weird when like you now find out all of this has been happening and nobody knew about it. So I think there's both ways to it, and it's a very like interesting topic that like I want to like think more on about. But that being said, is there any final conclusions or any final inputs you want to put in?
Yeah, I think as well, just for us now, like that situation you mentioned earlier with a certain church group, now that it's reached like a broader audience, just what I said earlier about like gossiping, it's not our job to now add fuel to the fire, but just approach it with compassion, because we actually really don't know what's going on. We only know to the extent of the knowledge that has been put out there, and it's just up to us as well to just pray that God takes control of the situation, because we do fall short, and no one's perfect as well. So to be like perpetrators of gossip and stuff, it doesn't make the situation any better. No matter if silence is what they're choosing to do or what they're not choosing to do, whatnot. We should not now add our own trouble onto it as well, because that helps nobody.
Absolutely.
So
Favor anything?
I think my last take would be like you should like let them in love, like it's still in love in the end, and try to maybe ask the Spirit for guidance as well in terms of like wisdom on how to like approach it. It doesn't necessarily have to be like how people might see that is right or not right. Just if you're doing your best in terms of so like what I said initially in terms of not confrontation, but more of like restoration in terms of how to bring that person back to a place where they should be. So yeah.
And I just want to drop from the point you made, and I think both of you made the point about love. I think, like the Bible says, love covers everything. In certain situations like this, with love in your heart, you would kind of, because I genuinely, for one, do not believe that people are bad. I don't believe that, people are naturally bad or something. Or, like, I struggle to see a person be like, you're horrible. So it's one of those ones, okay, when things have happened now, and it's like, let's say it's an outrageous news, compassion and love should come into it, and
definitely.
understanding to be like, okay, do you know what, let me give you the benefit of the doubt that, although we're just finding out about this now, I trust, or I could say, okay, maybe they've dealt with it in their own place. If that person is still in that position and you feel that they shouldn't be in that position, well, that's, at the end of the day, that's how you would approach things, but they have approached things this way. And some people, the way they approach things, to everyone else is like, okay, that's wrong. I haven't done what this person has done. I think they should have left this. And those are like extreme cases. But I think what I'm trying to say is that there's two sides of it. We should always have that heart of compassion and love that, okay, maybe they've done what they were meant to do. And, God takes the lead for whatever else. And I feel like this whole issue about silence being acceptance is mostly like the silence, what they want is gossip, like you said. Because most of the time it's like okay, now you know what you're doing about it, you're slandering them. that's when gossip comes in. So silence sometimes.
Because there might actually have been so much more done like behind closed doors that we
exactly.
don't know about.
And I like the fact that you brought out that gossip because it just clicked now that, like, you know, now we've heard about it. What are we doing? We're slandering these people. We're judging them. The silence has not helped you made a sensible decision. It's just led to you just gossiping, talking about it. So sometimes silence is needed, Sha. It's not every day. You know, I mean, the Bible says, because his mouth is wise. So it just might be a way to like protect you from the gossip. But if there's nothing else to add, that is it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you like this video, and like comment in this comment section below if you have any other things to add. What is your own perspective on this whole topic of silence being acceptance? I know we've dropped different points here. Like, comment, subscribe to our channel, and follow us at Limitless_FL on Instagram. God bless you. Bye.